I died. I remember the Viltrumite War. I remember thragg tearing through my chest. I remember telling Mark to be better than me. So why am I back at the beginning?
Every Invincible fan knows the long, bloody road of Nolan Grayson's redemption. He arrived on Earth as a cold, unfeeling conqueror, a man who saw his own family as nothing more than a weakness to control. It took centuries of isolation, a brutal war against his own empire, and even his own death before the Viltrumite programming finally began to break. But what if Nolan didn't have to wait 1,000 years to change? What if, at the exact moment of his death, his consciousness was ripped backward through time, and he was reborn on Viltrum with every single one of his future memories completely intact? This isn't just a second chance, a systematic corruption of the Viltrum Empire from the inside out. Nolan knows exactly who Cecil Stedman is. He knows the precise day the Guardians will try to stop him, and most importantly, he remembers the exact face of the sun he is supposed to break. Let's find out what happens when Omni Man restarts his life, with a human conscience. Rebirth for a Viltrumite is a slow, agonizing psychological torment. Nolan is born again into a society that prides itself on the systematic purging of weakness. From the moment he can walk, he is forced to participate in the brutal gladiator trials. He is told to murder his weaker peers. He is told that compassion is a genetic disease. But Nolan's mind is infected. Every time he looks at Grand Regent Thragg, he doesn't see a flawless leader. He sees the tyrant who will eventually slaughter his own species to maintain power. Every time he looks at Conquest, he remembers the monster who will nearly kill his future daughter-in-law. Nolan plays the part of the perfect soldier. He clears his eyes of emotion. He punches with the exact lethal velocity required of an elite warrior, but internally, he is calculating. He knows the exact fatal flaws of Viltrumite biology. He remembers the Scourge virus. He remembers the specific frequency that disrupts their equilibrium. For 2,000 years of Imperial service, Nolan acts as the Empire's most reliable vanguard, while secretly mapping out the coordinates of every weapon, every weak planet, and every defecting faction that will help him overthrow Thragg. When the High Council finally calls him in to assign him to a remote, backwater planet called Earth, the Council expects him to look at the assignment with contempt. Instead, Nolan smiles. The mission hasn't even started, and the Empire has already lost. In the original timeline, Nolan looked at Debbie as a convenient cover story, a local native to give him a domestic disguise while he evaluated the planet's defenses. He called her a pet because his Viltrumite pride wouldn't let him admit that a fragile human could pierce his programming. But in this timeline, Nolan lands on Earth as a man who has spent centuries mourning her. When he meets Debbie for the first time, he doesn't see a baseline human. He sees the woman who taught him how to be a father. He sees the woman whose heart he broke. "Are you all right? You look like you've seen a ghost." Nolan looks at her. "No, I'm just finally home." Instead of spending 20 years secretly analyzing global weaknesses, Nolan spends 20 years preparing Earth to become an interstellar fortress. He doesn't isolate himself from humanity. He integrates. He uses his vast knowledge of alien technology to quietly feed advanced theoretical physics to human scientists under an anonymous profile. He builds a life with Debbie, not as a lie, but as a sanctuary, and when his son Mark is born, Nolan doesn't look at him as a half-blood asset for the Empire. He looks at his baby boy and makes a silent vow: the cornfield will never happen. Pause. We just dropped our brand new 4K Invincible wallpaper pack, and honestly, it looks way better than whatever you have on your phone right now. Seriously, these designs are more durable than Mark's face in a subway station. And unlike Omni Man, they're actually going to stay around. So hit the link right at the top of the description, grab yours, and support the channel. Now, let's get right back into the Alliance. In the original timeline, the day Mark got his powers was the countdown to the slaughter. Nolan invited the Guardians to their headquarters and systematically tore them limb from limb to remove Earth's frontline defenses. But in this timeline, the moment Mark throws his first trash bag into the stratosphere, Nolan flies directly to the Guardians' base. "Omni Man, what the hell do you think you're doing? You just bypassed 3 layers of GDA security." The room shifts instantly. Immortal stands up, fists clenched. "Nolan, explain yourself. This is a private tactical briefing." But Nolan doesn't take a defensive stance. He doesn't prepare for a fight. He simply walks to the head of the table, pulls out a data drive encoded with high-level Viltrumite encryption, and slams it onto the console. Sit down, Immortal, and Cecil, stop charging your satellite laser. You're going to need that energy for what's coming. In exactly 6 months, the Viltrumite Empire is going to realize I've defected. They are going to send an execution squad led by Conquest and Anissa. If you fight them with your current global strategy, every single person in this room dies within 40 seconds. The room falls dead silent. Red Rush stops pacing. War Woman lowers her mace. And for the next 12 hours, Nolan lays bare the entire truth. He confesses his original mission, he tells them about his heritage, his people's genocidal history, and the exact powers and weaknesses of the incoming fleet. Why should we trust you? You're telling us you're a sleeper agent who suddenly had a change of heart. Nolan looks at them. You don't have to trust me, Immortal. You just have to look at the telemetry. I've handed you the exact frequency coordinates of our inner ear weakness. If I wanted to kill you, I would have done it before Cecil could press a button. I'm giving you the keys to kill my own species. Now, help me train my son. Because Nolan has his future memories, Mark's training is vastly accelerated. Nolan doesn't raise a fragile kid who relies entirely on his durability. He raises a tactical weapon, wrapped in human empathy. Mark, stop fighting the air. When a Viltrumite flies, we aren't using propulsion. We are manipulating our own mass relative to the space around us. If Anissa tries to blitz you, don't try to match her strength. Shift your gravity by a fraction of an inch and use her own forward momentum to break her collarbone. Mark is exhausted, but he isn't traumatized. He doesn't feel the crushing pressure of a distant, disapproving father. He feels the protective, intense guidance of a veteran general who loves him. Meanwhile, Cecil Stedman utilizes the data Nolan provided to transform the GDA. Instead of wasting billions on the reaniman, whose flaws Nolan easily pointed out, Cecil redirects the global budget into building localized sonic defense grids across major tectonic fault lines, tuned specifically to the Viltrumite equilibrium disruption frequency. Earth is no longer an oblivious lamb waiting for the slaughter. It is a massive technological trap, wired to explode the moment the Empire steps across the threshold. The Empire didn't wait for a 20-year report. The complete lack of communication from Nolan, combined with massive technological spikes emanating from Earth, tipped off Grand Regent Thragg early. Conquest lands on a deserted island in the Pacific, expecting Nolan to come out crawling for mercy. Instead, he finds a unified front. Nolan, Teen Mark, the entire roster of the Guardians of the Globe, and hundreds of GDA tactical drones, waiting in perfect military formation. Conquest laughs hysterically. Nolan, what is this joke? You've gone native. You're standing with insects. Thragg was right. You've gone soft. Nolan steps forward. His cape snaps in the wind, completely calm. I didn't go soft, Conquest. I just learned what we were actually fighting for, and I remember exactly how easy it is to break your mechanical arm. Conquest snarls, breaking the sound barrier as he lunges straight for Nolan's throat. In the original timeline, this fight would have leveled a continent and left Mark near death. But Nolan has already fought Conquest before. He knows every single tell, every favorite combination, and every blind spot the old monster possesses. As Conquest swings, Nolan doesn't block. He ducks beneath the strike, grabs Conquest's mechanical wrist, and drives a hyper-concentrated palm strike directly into the cybernetic housing, using internal frequency vibrations to detonate the machinery from the inside out. Conquest screams in agony as his arm explodes into shrapnel. Before Lucan or Anissa can assist, Cecil activates the global defense grid. A massive, invisible sonic frequency radiates from the GDA satellites, hitting the invading Viltrumites like a physical wall. Anissa and Lucan drop to their knees, clutching their ears, their internal equilibrium completely shattered. They can't fly, they can't focus, and their invulnerability drops by half. Mark drops from the sky like a meteor, utilizing the gravitational redirection his father taught him, driving an open palm strike directly into Lucan's midsection, knocking the massive soldier completely unconscious in a single blow. Conquest drags himself up, bleeding from his ears, looking at Nolan with absolute, unadulterated terror. He isn't fighting a defected scout, he is fighting a ghost from a future that has systematically engineered his absolute defeat. Nolan looks down at Conquest, coldly. Go back to Thragg, tell him the Vanguard mission is over. Earth is under new management. By the time the remaining Vanguard scouts return to the deep cosmos to report their staggering defeat, the entire balance of the galaxy has shifted. Nolan never had to break his son's spirit to realize he loved him. He never had to watch Debbie look at him with pure horror, and he never had to bury the Guardians of the Globe in a shallow grave. By carrying his future memories backward through the timeline, he didn't just save Earth, he saved his own soul before he could ever lose it. Earth is no longer a vulnerable target, waiting to be integrated into a tyrannical regime. Backed by Nolan's tactical blueprints, Cecil's global security networks, and a hyper-trained Invincible, the planet has become the ultimate resistance hub. And as Grand Regent Thragg sits on his throne light years away, staring at the terrifying data of a defeated execution squad, he realizes the horrifying truth. He didn't just lose a soldier, he just created his absolute executioner.